just taken off from Melbourne here on this Qantas 737. Now we're just about to embark on an 8-week trip around the globe, and we've done it all using points. And in this video I want to show you exactly how you can do the same. I want to show you the OneWorld Awards booking, why I think it's the best use of your frequent flyer points, how you can book a trip like this as well, and also give you a couple of tips on how you can earn enough points to book a OneWorld Awards round the world or multi-stop trip a lot faster than you might think. Hey Brian, I'm doing a video today on frequent flyer points and the best use of frequent flyer points. What are your tips?
Now that's my favorite topic. Caltex were running a special. Now if you just got a Caltex card and filled up at Caltex and spent $150 a month for 5 months in a row, you got 10,000 Qantas frequent flyer points each month. So that's 50,000 Qantas frequent flyer points just for filling up your tank at Caltex.
Sweet. I'm going to have to start paying you actually, Brian, for like active fees.
Okay, no,
you're always in these vlogs.
No, it's a quid pro quo because you're getting me new business.
Thanks again, Brian. Thank you, mate.
Not too much of that.
We will. My absolute favourite seat in the whole of the Qantas frequent flyer lounge down here in Melbourne. I often get quite sad when I come down here and there's someone already sitting in this seat, but we're here, it's 7:28 at night. There's not very many people left. There's only about 5 more flights to go, so the seat was free. Now I've talked about Qantas frequent flyer points on this channel a bit before. I quite often use them for upgrades, especially if I'm travelling between Melbourne and Sydney on domestic flights. If you're on a flexi fare, you can use 5,000 frequent flyer points to upgrade to business. But today I want to talk about a different use of points, which is using your Qantas frequent flyer points for what's called the OneWorld Award. Now that's just basically a multi-stop awards booking which you can use your points for. You can have up to 5 stopovers, travel up to 35,000 miles, and the good thing is you can actually do a round the world booking just using points. You ready for our trip?
Brisbane.
We're going to, yeah, I was going to say, we're going to some amazing destinations on this trip. We're going to go to Japan, Copenhagen. That's not a country, but yeah, first stop.
Brisbane.
That's where it all happens. Jackie's also a little bit emotional right now because he had to say bye to Lola.
Oh my God.
And one of the disadvantages of getting a long multi-stop flight around pretty much around the globe for 8 weeks is 8 weeks away from your can.
Oh.
She knew we were going.
Yeah, she was so.
You may have gathered that we are actually flying to many countries around the world, but our first stop today is Brisbane. And there's a reason behind that, and that's because when you're booking your round the world trip, quite often inventory is actually limited, and if you're not booking a long way in advance, you're probably not going to get the exact routes that you wanted. Now, we wanted to fly from Melbourne to Japan. We're off to Japan tomorrow, but the only way we could do that using the OneWorld Awards booking was to go from Melbourne to Brisbane, stop overnight in Brisbane, and then fly from Brisbane to Japan tomorrow. And you're going to have to get used to maybe a few adjustments to the trip that you actually wanted to fly, because you are booking awards booking seats, and there's not as many of them on the aircraft as there would be for normal paid seats. What I'd recommend is plan your trip first of all using the OneWorld Round the World multi-stop trip planner. It's a really cool system. You basically put in your origin, you put in the destinations that you want to go to. Once you've put in a few destinations, you can then go to the next screen, and that's when you can start to choose the actual flights themselves. And what you can do is put together a pretty accurate itinerary of all the flights that you want to fly. And then what I'd recommend is jump on the phone with the airline that you're going to be booking this through. In our instance, it was Qantas, and give them the itinerary there and then. It's much quicker to do that than to call up your airline and say, look, I want to book one of the OneWorld Awards round the world trips. I'm starting in Melbourne, where can I go? I should say as well, just quickly, nothing against Brisbane. Like, I'm very excited, but we're basically getting out of the plane tonight, going to the Pullman Hotel at the airport, going to sleep, waking up and getting on the flight in the morning. So it's not that I have anything against Brisbane, it's just, well, you know, it's an extra stop that we didn't really want. So why is this such good value then? Well, if you look at using your points to fly, say between Australia and England, if you're going to go like Melbourne to London, using your points, it's going to cost you 256,000 frequent flyer points to fly business from London to Melbourne. So for an additional 24,000 points, you've got access to a multi-stop OneWorld Awards booking. And that means you can stop up to 5 times, so you can do up to 5 stopovers and fly up to 35,000 miles just for that 280,000 points for business class. It's a way better use of points in my opinion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brisbane. The time is 10:15.
Okay, Brisbane. So how do you earn your Qantas frequent flyer points then? If you want to earn 280,000, well, you could fly between Melbourne and Sydney 280 times. That's not very practical though. You could do what Brian was telling us in the taxi before and look out for those offers like the Caltex one that's on at the moment. But your best bet, and the thing that I always try and do wherever I can each year, is credit cards, is using credit cards. There's normally really good credit card offers when you sign up for a new credit card. For example, the Qantas titanium card they have on their website at the moment, their sign up bonus, if you haven't had one of those cards before, is 150,000 frequent flyer points. Now, I'm not encouraging you to go and get a credit card and get into credit card debt just to get your frequent flyer points to fly around the world. Of course, be sensible. Stay on top of your costs, obviously. Check whatever fees those credit cards have. But if you're going to be spending the money already, and you can maybe change cards to another provider and get a big sign-up bonus like the 100,000 or 150,000 point offers that are out there at the moment. Still feel weird talking to a camera in the airport sometimes. People really do look at you funny, but I guess that's my lot in life now.
Sorry. So hard to roll bags on carpet.
So just a few last points to consider. Now remember, Emirates, even though there is a partnership between Emirates and Qantas, they're not part of OneWorld, so you can't book Emirates flights as part of your OneWorld Awards booking. And secondly, and probably my biggest tip actually, is make sure you choose hubs and try and see if you can stop for a decent period of time in those hubs. Use them as a base and then book your own flights to go from there, and then you can really expand your trip beyond the 5 stopovers that you're allowed. Like what we're doing, for example, is we're going to be in London in a couple of weeks' time and then using that as a base, and we're booking our own flights to get into Europe and just to go and explore some other countries. So book your OneWorld Awards flight to get to the hubs, but then use low-cost carriers like Ryanair, EasyJet, British Airways maybe, but pick low-cost carriers that can get you into other places, and you can really expand your trip beyond what you would have had just by booking on points. Alright, that's it for tonight. I did really want to show you the view outside because the control tower is right there, but it's dark and you can't really see it. Tomorrow, off to Japan.